Hello class, I hope everyone's doing great when they start watching this video. Today we're going to be talking about the levels of life. So we've finished up the things we're going to learn about heat and energy and going to start our very last unit of the year, which is really sad because then we don't get to learn anything else. But I wish we could keep going and learn everything we possibly could, but this is our last unit. But we're going to start with just kind of some basic definitions today and kind of give us a nice foundation to talk about things and learn about things. This also might be a bit of a review from things that you've learned about maybe in 6th or 7th grade, but it's good to look at them one more time and refresh our memories. So our questions to get us started thinking about this kind of stuff is, what is the first word that comes to mind when we hear the word individual? So we're going to be talking about individuals today. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Have you guys heard this word before? Does it sound familiar? What do these come to mind? Also, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word population? So we're going to be talking about each of these, and I think each of these words are often used in other contexts rather than just science. So I think if we can tie some of our other knowledge to how we're going to be using them in terms of science, it can really help us learn it a lot better. So that's just why I wanted to bring those questions to you guys. By the end of the day, our objective is to be able to define and give an example of each of our 5 levels of life. We're going to learn about 5 different levels today. So, as always, I have a video for you guys. This is a fun ecosystem song to help us learn it a little bit better. I'll post that in the classroom in the same spot as always, so please pause this video now and go watch that one. It's only just under 3 minutes. But our first level of organization we're going to learn about. Oh wait, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we can classify our levels of life by the size of the group. Can also, the bigger the level, the more interactions between groups or things there are. We can see this picture. We'll be using this a lot. We're going to learn about our individuals, our population, communities, ecosystems, biomes, and biospheres, and what's the difference between all of those. So the first one we're going to learn about is individual. So our definition for an individual is one living organism. We can see up here we just have a little fish as our example. This can be one person, this can be one fish, one tree, one flower, any living organism. We learned way back in the beginning of Partial 1 about what is life and what we need to have life. And so we kind of have an idea of what living versus non-living is, but the idea is anything that can grow and can make offspring, reproduce, is living. Anything that cannot is non-living. So we have things like rocks, water, air are examples of non-living things. But our living things are, animals, humans, trees, plants, flowers, grass, kind of idea. So if it can produce offspring, if it can make more of itself, it's living. If it cannot, like rocks, like water, like air, it is non-living. These individuals can be either really big, maybe like one elephant, one whale, or really, really small, like insects, or even smaller like bacteria. Oh, there we go. Plants, animals, or bacteria. If we were to abbreviate it, it would be like having just one letter A. So we're going to be looking at how each one of our terms would be put into our variable. So if we could abbreviate it as just 1A. All right, our next, what are some examples we can think of for individuals? I've said a bunch, but let's look at some pictures. Some that I thought of is just one dolphin. Oh, we have maybe one bird, one tree, one pine tree. These are individual things. So we have one frog, one kind of snail. This is a bacteria. This is one bacteria. This is a different bacteria. So each of these are individuals. And even one bison or buffalo. This is my favorite animal, just so in case you guys didn't know. All right, let's talk about population now. So our definition for population is a group of organisms of the same species. So we can see when we have one fish, now we have a bunch of fish. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fish in our picture up here. A population is not one monkey, one bird, and one pine tree together. A population has to be of the same species. So we don't see a bunch of different kinds of fish in our population. They all look the same. They're all yellow fish. So it has to be of the same organisms for our population. That's our key thing. If we were to look at this as our abbreviation, it would be like having A. A population needs to be the same. If we were to have an example of one monkey, maybe our monkey would be an A, our bird would be B, and our pine tree would be C. So those would not be the same. We all want the same for our populations. What are some examples? We have a population of bunny here, so we can see they all look the same, and there's more than one of them. A population of penguins. I don't know how many there are here, but we have a bunch of different the same species of penguins. Look at all these pretty sunflowers. They're all sunflowers, and there's lots of them in rows. We have, I think this is lavender, another plant that's all the same population. And then this is what's called bacteria. So this bacteria is actually really interesting and is found in Wyoming in a place called Yellowstone National Park. So just wanted to throw in some Wyoming facts here about Yellowstone. Okay, our community is our next thing up. We have a group of populations living together in the same area. So we have our individual, one. Our population is a bunch of the same. A community is a bunch of populations living together. So we can see now we have a yellowfish, a bluefish, a jellyfish, some grass, and a crab living together as a community. They must be interacting as well. So they can't just be living in the same area, but we want them to be working together, seeing each other, and different things. For example, a group of people living next to birds without interacting with them is not a community. This is actually pretty rare for things to be living next to each other and not be interacting in some way. So most of the time they will be interacting in some way. And again, this is like having AAA plus BBBB plus CCCC. So we can see we have 3 different populations here, all working together. When I hear the word community, I think a lot of people in a community where we might all be a little bit different. Might have even Amigos de Jesus is a example of a community because we have children being one population, we could have our teachers being another population, and even our volunteers being another, and we all interact and live in our same area. So, just another example. Some examples here we have zebra, we have some buffalo with horns, and some grass, some trees. So those are 4 different populations. We have what looks like some elk, some animals back here with some trees. So that's 2 different populations, and some grass is a 3rd population. And then here we have kind of a similar thing. We have cows is one population, grass is another, and trees is a 3rd population. So these are all ideas of communities. All right, ecosystems. Ecosystems, our definition is all communities and non-living things in an area. So an ecosystem now incorporates not just our communities, but the non-living things in that area as well. So we can see we have our community, we have only living things up here. Grass is living, a crab, a fish, and a jellyfish, but now we put in our non-living things in that area as well. So we have water now and a rock. So everything, this includes animals, plants, rocks, materials, and nutrients. So we learned nutrients as well in terms of water, rocks, air, whatever may be there. Some examples. Ooh, I didn't make this nice like the other one, so let's look at these each individually. Examples, we have a sun, which would be non-living, and then we have air and water, which is also non-living, but the rest of our ecosystem includes our frogs, our fish, our tadpoles, flies, our grass, or what are called water weeds, a snail. We have a different example down here where we have our water, air, we have the sun, those are all non-living, and then we have our a plant community down here, a bunch of different plants. We have some fish for our animals, some trees as well, and then this time we have our sun again, water, air, rocks, and then our living things are our plants under the water. We have some trees, some grass. So it's everything that's living and non-living all together. All right, now we have a biome. So a biome is a large area of ecosystems together. So we have 4 major biomes we'll learn about, which is the Arctic, the coral reef or the ocean, the rainforest, and the grasslands. And oh, sorry, that popped up kind of weird. Some examples here, we again have our coral reefs. We can see a couple different ecosystems coming together. We have the ocean ecosystem and then maybe our coral reefs, lots of stuff coming together. This is our Arctic, and this is a map of our different biomes across. So this is large areas of our ecosystems. Just wanted to throw something at you guys, which is ecology. That's kind of something that we'll be looking at. Ecology is the study of life. Eco means dwelling place or home. So it's like home, and then ology is the root for study. So it's like kind of the study of homes or where animals live. And then a scientist that studies ecology is an ecologist, and it can be studied at every different level that we just learned about. So we can study it at the level of an individual. An ecologist can ask, how do zebras keep water in their bodies? An ecologist can study it at the population level and ask what causes the growth of a zebra population. At the community level, ecosystem, and even the biosphere biome level. So our quick summary of this is just our definition. So individual, one living organism. Population, a group of organisms of the same species. Community, a group of populations in the same area. Ecosystem, all our communities and the non-living things in that area. That's when we include things like rocks, water, air. Then a biome is our large areas of ecosystems. So I just want to show you guys one more thing we have in our classroom, and that is this Jamboard. So just to help us kind of review and work through this on our own, I want you guys to match our correct definition to the correct term. So you can either move the definition into the right spot. All of these are out of order right now. So our individual is not a large area of ecosystems. It is one of our other definitions. So I want you to move those around until those are correct. And then our next thing that I want you guys to do is to put our smallest term at the top. So if we think individual is the smallest, I want you to put it over this top of the pyramid and then go down in order. We go from individual to the next biggest until we get all the way down to the biggest level of our life. So just a couple of activities to help us learn and reinforce what we just heard. So, let me just undo this. There we go. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope that was clear. If you guys have any questions, as always, please let me know.